The House That Whispers. Gray Hollow was the kind of town that never changed. Its streets were narrow, its shops tired, its people quiet. Everyone knew everyone, and everyone knew the stories. Especially about the Morton house. It stood on the edge of town like a wound, 3 stories of decaying wood and broken windows, hunched under the weight of ivy and rot. No one went near it. They said it whispered at night, that it called your name. Clara Morton had avoided it for 20 years, ever since her parents vanished inside. No bodies, no answers, just silence. And now, after her aunt's death, the house belonged to her. The key felt heavy in her palm, strangely warm, as though alive. When she pushed open the door, it moaned like something in pain. Dust spiraled in the air, and the stench of mold and metal choked her throat. Inside, time hadn't moved. Furniture sat where it had been decades ago, coated in cobwebs. Portraits lined the walls, their faces blurred by mildew. Her eyes froze on her mother, smiling. But the smile was stretched too wide, the teeth too sharp. Clara dropped the frame. Glass shattered. Somewhere in the walls, something whispered her name. The first night was sleepless. Footsteps thudded upstairs. The sound stopped above her. Then came the voice, stretched thin like silk tearing, "Claw!" When she lifted her flashlight, a figure stood at the top of the stairs, tall, unmoving, its face hidden in shadow. The light flickered. The figure vanished. By daylight, she tried to convince herself it was nerves. But in the attic, she found a nailed-shut door. Carvings across the wood read, "Do not open. It listens." Deep scratches scarred the frame from the inside. The townsfolk noticed her return. Mrs. Kettle, the neighbor across the street, knocked with a pie and a warning. "That house ate your aunt alive," she said, eyes wide with fear. "Don't stay. Burn it. Leave." Clara tried to laugh it off, but when she turned back, she saw the old woman watching from her window, lips moving in silent prayer. 2 nights later, the police came. Officer Davis, young and skeptical, responded to a call neighbors swore they heard screams. He insisted on walking through the house with Clara. The electricity was dead, so their flashlights cut narrow tunnels through the dark. In the study, Davis picked up a leather diary. Its final words were scrawled. "It wears their faces. Never answer the voice." The officer scoffed. "Old nonsense." Then the house groaned. The air thickened. From the hallway, a child's voice rang out. "Daddy?" Davis stiffened. The beam of his flashlight shook. That was my daughter." He dropped the diary and stumbled toward the sound. Clara shouted after him, but he was already gone. The door slammed shut. When she pried it open minutes later, the hallway was empty. Only his flashlight remained, still on, beam pointed at the floor. The whispers multiplied after that. Sometimes her mother's voice, sometimes her father's, sometimes strangers. Sometimes Davis, begging for help. The voices crawled into her dreams, desperate. She invited her childhood friend Mark, the only person she trusted, to stay with her. He didn't believe in curses, but when night fell, his skepticism cracked. As they sat in the living room, the television flickered on, though the power was dead. On the screen was Clara's family, her mother, her father sitting at the very same couch, smiling and waving. Mark threw the remote across the room. The screen went black. Then words appeared, written across it in dripping red. "Stay with us." That night, Mark vanished too. She woke to his scream, found his shoes in the hall. Nothing else. Clara tried to leave. She packed her bags, shoved the key into her pocket, and stormed toward the door. But the knob burned her hand, red hot. The house would not let her go. The whispers became screams, angry, overlapping. Thousands of voices clawing at her sanity. In the mirror, her reflection began to grin without her, mouthing words, "It's already inside you." When she fled to the attic, the nailed door stood open. Darkness seeped out like smoke. From it, hands reached pale, skeletal, dozens of them. Faces followed, her mother, her father, Officer Davis, Mark. Their mouths opened in unison, whispering, "Stay, stay forever." Clara's knees buckled. Tears streamed down her face. She wanted to run into their arms, to let the blackness take her. But something inside anger, survival snapped. She stumbled down the stairs, dragging kerosene cans from the shed, splashing the walls, the portraits, the floor. The whispers grew frantic. Some begged, some threatened. The house shook violently. But she struck a match. Flames devoured everything. Shadows writhed, screaming. The faces melted into black smoke. The roof collapsed with a roar, and the house burned like a pyre. Clara staggered into the street, coughing, body trembling, watching it die. By dawn, nothing but ash remained. The whispers were gone. The silence was total. Clara thought she was free, but as she walked down the road, a soft breath brushed her ear. Clara, the house was gone. The whisper had followed her. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe.